for Akron.
It really, as SUMA has gone through some transitions, and they're a great organization to work with, great leadership. I know they've gone through some transitions over the last couple of years, and we've had some conversations about, the future of that particular corner where, a lot of us were born. And so there's some historic preservation with Ignatia Hall. And so we'll have future discussions about what the corner looks like and what the future is right there. It's a great building with a parking deck right there that overlooks downtown. It's got a lot of amenities, I think, on the development side. So we'll have a conversation coming up in the next in the upcoming months about what happens right there, and we'll start to look for some ideas to say, what can we put right there and what's a good fit? And so they've been a great partner to work with, so I look forward to having those conversations.
Well, when you look at the new SUMA Tower, which is just a beautiful place, and what Akron Children's has done, and Cleveland Clinic, Akron General, that is so important when you look, as the mayor of this city, when you look at our medical corridor.
And they've created campuses, and especially Children's has been very aggressive over the last few years, and in their parking facilities and their doctor facilities right in and around their central campus, and then acquiring property right around Lock 3. And so on how close they are, with maybe a few hundred yards separating, Cleveland Clinic, Akron General, and then Children's, and then maybe just over a mile over the SUMA campus over on East Market Street. So it's, they're all collected right there. So it's an important endeavor for the city that people have access to good, high-quality health care. And so as we look at, those campuses and how they develop and how we connect them. So it's always the future of our planning process, our traffic process, all of those different things go into where those medical facilities are. And so they're all good conversations with them to talk about what their future is and how they grow.
It's certainly, and sometimes we don't think about it because it's always there, but I think and I've been around a number of cities, it's one of the big attractions, if you ask me, to the city of Akron, is the medical coverage, the care, and the corridor. One, it's a job creator. It's an economic boom. But two, what we have here in the region as far as medical coverage, it's terrific. You had to be pleased last week. Again, the Akron Marathon, just where this has come in the last 12 to 15 years is just something else. And I thought it was a great idea by Brian Poland and his group of having it start at Stan Hewitt and end at Canal Park.
I'll tell you, in talking to people that are involved, and you can't say enough, Stephen G. Marks and what they've done with the Akron Marathon and their entire group, they're so great to work with when it comes to making suggestions of how do we do this better, how do we do this better. They've really refined the whole race series and where they start. They start at the test track of Goodyear one day. They start at the University of Akron for the one set of race. Where the marathon started this year, it was just so exciting to see that entire group. And you literally had tens of thousands of people out on the streets, and being part of it with the bike escort crew and riding part of that. It's just a great day. Kyle Kudichif at the Knight Foundation said, it's kind of our Akron's national holiday, and it really is. It's just a celebration as they're running through the neighborhoods and people are cheering them on, and people finding that little bit of extra strength to be able to go that last kilometer, and then wrapping around the Summit Lake, the floating bridge along Summit Lake is coming down the towpath. It was even more special, and I don't know how you can do that because it gets better every single year, and you can't say enough about the group and how much they put in. And, they start planning about now. I mean, they don't take a whole lot of time off because it takes that much time to plan that much of a series and to get as many people, to the finish line and to run through the neighborhood. So they're a great organization to work with. It's a special day for all of us, especially me because I get to be part of it in a special way, and I'll always honor and cherish that.
Akron Mayor Dan Horrigan with us. WAKR, the election, a little bit over a month away. Obviously, you've enjoyed the run here as mayor. Obviously, you have because you're running for re-election again. What to you has been the most gratifying part of this job? Because you knew going into the job it was going to be real busy, but you born, raised Akron, council, teacher, everything right on down the line. What surprised you, or what are you most happy with the job as being mayor of your city?
It's you're right. Obviously, I'm running again. I think there's some tremendous momentum going on in what we've been able to try to get accomplished. And 4 years ago, could you have imagined that we would have established, eBay and Amazon with a presence in Akron? Could you have imagined that, we opened 2 new fire stations within a week? And could you have imagined, addressing a lot of those infrastructure challenges that have been a challenge for the city over the last, 5 to 10 years. Like I said, there's a lot of positive momentum going forward. I want to continue that work. It's a joy every day to do the job. I mean, you have to be able to want to do it. the interactions with people, and whether it's businesses or people in neighborhoods, to me, those are the most rewarding parts of it, because you get good information, but people are what make this job. And I get to work with a great staff on a daily basis who truly care about what the future of the city looks like. And so we've been intentional about being diverse and inclusive and having a lot of different voices at the table to help make some of those decisions. It's made me a better person. And so that's the joy you get out of it on a daily basis. And so, I'm gonna ask the voters again to elect me to another 4-year term, and with the grace of God, they will, and we'll kind of go from there. But we don't stop work. It's work every day, but it's enjoyable work too. We really do love the work.
A couple of things you've really hung your hat on is really improving the neighborhoods. Talk a little bit about the incentives with people with their properties. How has that worked out? You put that in place, about 10, 11 months ago?
Yeah, maybe a little over a year ago. The argument was, could you do downtown development and forget about neighborhoods? And I never bought into the notion that you have to make a choice. And we made a conscious effort to identify business districts and neighborhoods to say, okay, we're going to come in here and invest in your neighborhood, in your business district, but what do you want? And that's a question that I think is hard to answer sometimes when you really ask somebody, tell me what you want. Everybody wants to live in a safe neighborhood. They want to be able to maybe walk to school or have those, fire stations close, smooth roads, all of those different things. The same thing with our business corridor downtown. There's 50,000 some odd people that come downtown to work every day and go to school. I mean, that's a significant neighborhood unto itself. And there's a lot of connections there when you're getting to work and having different transportation needs. Identifying some of those issues, to me, that's been really the joy of that, of finding out and figuring out what Akron really wants. And they want a lot of things that other cities want. And I've never said to ourselves or to any of our staff, we're not going to take a back seat to anybody. We're going to go after as much as we can. But I think on that strength of the growth on some of those local businesses, we're as intentional in going to ask local businesses what they need to be able to grow as we are on the attraction part of it from businesses outside of Akron. You need to be balanced, and I think having a strong local economy, helps you weather a recession or a downtime a little bit easier, but also gives you a better connectedness to some of those things. It's a core. If we're gonna grow our population, we're gonna grow from the core out, and having some of those amenities and identifying those, to me, those were kind of easy to be able to do, because all you really had to do was ask the question, asking people what do they want, and they've been not shy in telling us what exactly they want out of the city and what they want out of our government. I mean, we're not the solution to everything. We're either a partner, or we're going to get out of the way, or we're going to lead. And I think finding that role is one of the key things, or I think the sweet spot to be able to move the city forward.
Akron Mayor Dan Horrigan with us, 1590 WAKR News Talk Sports, and now at 93.5 FM. We're 18 minutes after 7 o'clock. More with the mayor coming up in a moment. Want to get you traffic and weather on the 8s right now. Here's Stephanie with an update on traffic.
On 77 northbound at Arlington, you've got an accident. Traffic is slow in that area. On Route 8 northbound before Graham, that accident is on the right shoulder. Traffic is still slow there. Traffic is slow on 77 northbound between Arlington and the Central Interchange, on 77 northbound at Gent, and on Route 8 northbound between Graham and 303. You do have heavy fog throughout the area, so give yourself extra time and be careful. Follow us on Twitter at AkronTXWX. From the Legacy Motors of Akron Traffic Center, Summit County's largest indoor showroom, I'm Stephanie Nicole.
And our forecast says high to low 80s today. Rain, storms, another possibility. Cloudy tonight, cool 55 tomorrow, cooler. Starting a trend for a couple of days, mid-60-degree temperatures. Currently, we're 65 degrees on the Ray Horner Morning Show. Dan, probably one of the few times I saw you take a right cross a little bit was on the snow removal day of earlier this year. And that happened, and you stood tall with that. I got to give you credit. You came on this show and said, hey, we got to do better. What did you learn? Obviously, that was not a good day, but what did you learn most from that day, that time as mayor of Akron?
Well, first thing, I don't think there was anybody as more critical of our strategy than me and how we approach a level of service. People expect things, and one of the things that you're supposed to do is plow the streets, pick up the trash, and a lot of those basic city services. And so even after that, Council President Margot Somerville and I both sat down with the team inside the city and said, listen, we're not going to do that again. And it wasn't a failure of effort at all. I mean, it was 6 straight days of a 24-hour operation that was trying to clear that. To me, it was more strategic in how we do it, too. Mm-hmm. And so whether it was the number of resources to be able to be dedicated to that. And so we went back and really kind of stripped out the process to say, okay, we haven't changed it for a while. What's the level of expectation? So I think taking that deep dive, and to me, it was part of one of those things that you have to do every once in a while. Any organization, in any deliverable service, they have to look at it and to say, how is it the most efficient? How is it everything? How are you delivering that level? And so, in fact, we're going to be coming out with something probably in the next week or so to say these are the structure changes that we're going to make, whether it's more resources, more training, more trucks, more plows, more salt, any of those things. We'll identify those in about a week and come to the public and tell you, hey, listen, we know we did this. Going forward, we're going to do this. Now, are we going to get 2 feet of snow and it's going to struggle again? Any community with any number of resources is going to struggle with 2 feet of snow. And with 18 inches, it was a lot to be able to get. In the end, it all worked out by Wednesday or Thursday to be able to do those things. But like I said, we were critical on ourselves to be able to do that too. Those are those learning things that help you say, you got to go back and be able to be critical on yourself and say, listen, this isn't the way we're supposed to do it. Let's do it a different way. And so we've taken the last few months to be able to do that. And we'll dedicate more resources, more people, and put a better strategic effort to be able to remove that snow.
You have to be excited about the opportunities that are in front of Akron, and maybe you as the mayor, as election is coming up, when we have the East Side Project, now you have the Rolling Acres area that seems to really, that I'm excited to see what that looks like in 5 to 10 years. And the different area, the Kenmore area is really trending up and everything. You have to be excited about what's happening.
I think very excited. Those are intentional efforts to be able to look at neighborhoods and say, okay, where are we going to invest our, sometimes very limited resources to be able to do that. And if you look at some of the neighborhoods, if you go east, you have a lot of anchors in the University of Akron and Suma and the East End. If you go south, you've got the Bridgestone complex just down South Main Street. If you go west, it's a lot of retail and residential going west. There's not like a major employer that has, thousands of jobs on the west side, but you don't really necessarily have an anchor on the north side. And so as you look at those anchors and how you do things, it kind of gives you some opportunities to say, okay, how can we anchor North Hill, past the residential part? Is it more retail? Is it more X? And those are some of the things I think on a daily basis where we look and kind of balance the city where people are working, where they're going to shop. Even, Rolling Acres and Roaming Road had not seen investment in 25 or 30 years, and now you're seeing, tens of millions of dollars going into putting jobs where people are, as opposed to putting jobs where they need to be able to get somewhere, maybe after an hour and a half ride, or they can't get a ride. So that's part of that strategic effort to say, how are we getting jobs closer to people so they can get to those, so you can drive down some of those levels of poverty. So, childcare isn't so much of an issue and transportation isn't so much of an issue. And these are the things that we learn from other cities. We learn from people in here. And so that's all of that. I think it's exciting to be able to address some of those systemic issues, on a daily basis and then try and fix them.
You know what's interesting, Dan, when you talk about city development, 20, 30 years ago, it was getting the big shopping district in your area. But in today's world, with the way shopping has changed, I almost look at the Amazon expansion as your shopping district development, because that's the way shopping is going. And I bring that up because as a mayor of a major city, when you look at development, it might not necessarily, maybe it is, I can't wait to hear your answer here, it might not necessarily be creating that hub shopping district. It might be something different.
Well, and that is a question that we have asked ourselves, and you ask yourself, do you want to get in front of that ball that is rolling downhill and try and stop it? Well, some number of years ago, everybody, we all put a phone in everybody's hand and said, tell us how you feel and what you think. Well, they do through social media. The other part is that, you can buy anything that you want, get it delivered to you in a day. That's not me saying don't do that, but we can also invest in some of those business districts, in some of those small businesses, and the entrepreneurs, like through the Bounce Innovation down on the south end of Main Street and some of the other business districts, to say, what do you need to be able to grow? And this could be a pizza shop or a hair salon or somebody or a barbershop, anything. What are they going to be able to do? Because you still need those services. The other part of it is, do we put those jobs here or do we do them there? And it's a balance on that investment into the individual neighborhood district. Some it's lighting, some it's safety. It's just what they identify as what they're going to need most. And so, like I said, as you're looking at that development side, it's not necessarily that we say, hey, we're not doing any retail, but retail fits in a place. Where is that? And it's going to it's going to fit in some places, and it's not going to fit in others.
The final question for you, and I appreciate you coming in,
Sure.
Akron Mayor Dan Horrigan with us. It is safety It is opioid addiction, and of course what we've seen in the fight there. Akron is making some headway. We're still seeing some deaths and such. As mayor of the city, when you've seen certainly the city and many others stand up, talk about that fight and what you've done as well for safety for your folks in the city.
Well, addressing public safety first in through the generosity of the Akron voters through issue 4 and being able to hire more police officers and hire more firefighters and build better facilities for them so they can do their job. Them having the right equipment and the right facilities to be able to do a job goes a long way into improving just the overall morale in both of the organizations. But when you look at the opiate, it has been a collaborative effort across agencies and across political subdivisions and working with the county and the ADM board and all of the, all the different jurisdictions around the county to be able to address it. I'm proud of the effort. We put Narcan in every car, in every public safety vehicle. We started QRTs, which are quick response teams that are getting people into treatment, quicker, reduce the wait times for beds. I'm a big fan, and this is about the treatment side with medically assisted treatment, partnering with the United Way and their four bold goals. And one of them is to reduce the number of emergency room visits to under 1,000 when it comes to opiate overdoses. And we're getting very close to that and reducing those numbers. It's a lot of work to do still. It's something that has been building for a while, so you're not going to be able to say, well, listen, there's not a magic wand out there that says, hey, listen, this is what we're going to be able to do. But having a better educational opportunity, a better economic opportunity, those are all the things in and around the city that we're trying to provide to reduce some of those neighborhood issues, to reduce the opiate issues. But like I said, they had been building for a while and addressing those since 2016. I'm very proud of the effort and the results so far that we've been able to get accomplished. But you don't do those things alone. And like I said, you're either going to lead, follow, or get out of the way. We've been leading on some and then following with others. And to me, it's just continuing to move the city forward in addressing some of those key issues, and it's a daily fight every day.
Mayor, thanks for coming in this morning. Appreciate it. Before we let you go, we've been asking all of our guests this week. October is National Pizza Month. Favorite pizza topping besides cheese?
Sausage.
Yeah. Okay. Luigi's?
I tell you the truth, my mom, if she's listening, she taught me to make pizza a long time ago, and I hate to put that out on the air, but and then I even got
You're solid in it?
I'm gonna say I'm pretty solid.
Gene, what do you say? Next visit, Mayor?
Okay,
pizza?
sure. He'll bring.
I bought a big green egg too, and so I'll make those in the stone with a deep dish. I'm gonna tell you, my kids like it. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
If the kids like the pizza, I'm okay.
It would matter if we liked it too.
Yeah.
I guess you're right.
Well, I think we have an opening tomorrow, Dan. If you
Friday is pizza day in the Fall House in my household. So,
There you go.
But I got to thank my mom. She taught me how to make it well. So
Very good. All right. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks. Have a
There
great
you
morning.
Go. Akron Mayor Dan Horrigan with us live in studio on the Ray Horner Morning Show. 28 minutes after 7 o'clock. Traffic and weather on the 8th. Stephanie.
On 224 eastbound at 77, you've got an accident there causing slowdowns. You've got an accident on 77 northbound at Arlington as well. Be careful in that area. In Macedonia on 271 northbound at Route 82, you've got an accident blocking the right shoulder. The accident on Route 8 northbound before Graham has been cleared. Traffic is still slow there. You've got slowdowns on 77 northbound between Arlington and the Central Interchange, on Route 8 northbound between Graham and 303, and on 77